Welcome to Work Comp Talk, a podcast dedicated to all of the injured workers in Northern California, or anywhere in California, if you might ask. My name is Carmen Ramirez, your host, and joining me once more is David Mojica. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
We're super excited to have you with us one more time, and this time we are going to be talking about doctors. Yes. Last time we were talking about defense attorneys and claims adjusters and employers. This time we're going to talk about doctors, but not in a bad way. We're not going to hate on doctors. We love doctors. It's more so in the sense of, is it illegal? And this is a question that is constantly being asked. And if you have not yet jumped into our podcast or our YouTube channel, please make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, bell notifications, so you guys can get notified every time we dump some new content. And on top of that, kind of just get in the know, right, of everything that's happening within the new laws that come, change, etc. There's a lot of things that we actually put out for the podcast. So with that out of the way, today's topic: is it illegal for me to use another doctor besides a workers' comp doctor?
Now, okay, so another doctor, like your own private doctor?
Yeah, like my favorite. Yeah, like my family doctor that I've been going to for years. Yeah, so my private doctor.
Yeah, okay. So the short answer is no, it's not illegal.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's sort of. It will have some
repercussions.
Not repercussions exactly. No one's going to punish you for going to see your own doctor. What will happen is if your own family doctor finds out that you're seeing them for a work comp injury, and then they go and try and bill your health insurance,
right,
your normal regular health insurance that you always use to go to your doctor, your health insurance isn't going to pay. You're going to have to.
Yeah. That's not good.
That's not optimal, no. So is it illegal? No. Is it expensive? Yes.
Oof, very.
Part of the benefits of workers' comp is that you'll get to see a doctor that will be paid for by the insurance carrier, right? The other benefit of workers' comp doctors is that when it comes time to argue your case, to talk about what kind of treatments you need and how are you on your path to wellness after your injury, right? We're gonna have to argue with the insurance company about it, and they take the word of their doctors much more seriously than they take the word of your doctor.
Of course.
They assume if you've been seeing your family doctor for 10 or 15 years, they like you.
They're your best friend.
They're gonna say whatever you want them to say, and they're not going to be objective, right? Work comp treating doctors tend to be favorable towards workers.
Hey, I've heard otherwise, just saying.
Sometimes there's always a bad apple in the bunch.
Okay.
But generally speaking, at least when someone comes to us at Pacific Workers, we try to send people to people we trust to be fair and treat our people well.
Which, by the way, we've also mentioned in other podcasts that knowing the doctors is also important, right? Having, because sometimes there's doctors and then there's doctors.
We send people to people we know and respect, and but they are within what's called the MPN, is the provider network that the insurance companies use. It's just a list of doctors that they'll pay for.
Right.
And so, you can use your own doctor if you've got the money. This is America; you can do whatever you want. But odds are, if you're just like a regular working person, you can't afford like the whatever $200 it is to go see a doctor out of pocket completely, right? Or if they prescribe treatment like acupuncture or physical therapy, if you could pay for all that out of pocket, you probably have a job where work comp isn't really an issue.
Yeah. Not happening. Reality is, it's expensive, right? And let's just figuratively say that, yeah, I have the money to kind of pay out of pocket. That's only in the minor cases, the cases where it was just like a bump in the head type of thing, right? A little cut in the arm, that's about it. But it gets complicated when you need surgeries, when you need emergency surgeries, when you need a lot of physical therapy. And not only that, you need tons of loads of medication. Yeah. Imagine you injuring your back and you have to get, I don't know, some type of surgery ASAP. Surgeries are not cheap in the United States.
No, they are not.
So paying out of cost for that just because I want to use my own doctor might not be beneficial.
No. I mean, again, if you have the money, hey, good for you.
Yeah.
I know I don't.
Okay.
I couldn't pay for a back surgery for myself, just cash. So yeah, it's better to use the work comp system to your advantage in the ways that you can. You can do that with the help of an attorney. Also, as you're settling your case out, you'll get recommendations for future medical care, and that might include surgery, or if you've already had it, it might include like revisions or additional surgeries, medications, doctor visits, right. Anything that might happen with a flare-up. And that all has value. And so you would be able to, at that point, settle your case out. They'll do a buyout, right? It's called a compromise and release, where we negotiate how much all we can expect the insurance company would have to pay if they were going to pay for it. And then they just give you the lump sum, and then they're totally out of the equation. Now you've got a bunch of money in your pocket.
Yeah.
Now you can go to your doctor and, the work comp case is over. You don't have to bring it up. You can just go to your doctor and say, hey, I have this problem. Can you please help me fix it? And they'll do it. Right. And you've got the money to pay for whatever you got to pay out of pocket or your co-pays or whatever the case may be.
Right. Okay, so that's good to know. It's not illegal for you to go seek another doctor. However, it's expensive.
Yeah.
And then if you do decide to stay within this medical provider network, the MPN list, which, by the way, every insurance carrier has a different list. Some doctors might be on multiples. Then if you choose one of their doctors, it's essentially free coverage for you. You're not going to have to worry about that expense. Now, I'm going to add a little twist. I'm notorious for making all these random questions because I have to speak in the sense of someone who doesn't necessarily study workers' comp as a hobby. But what if there is the MPN list? I come to you. I really dislike my doctor. I'm not happy. He's not listening. He's tending to side more with the insurance company. Do I have the right to change doctors? Can they say no to me?
You do have the right to change doctors. Within the MPN, we can find you someone else. It also happens that, maybe you live in a remote area.
Okay.
I have clients like that who live, kind of like outside of Sacramento. And that's a rural area. And so if you have, especially if it's a like a special, not generic sort of typical injury, doctor, yeah. Right? Like, say you need a pulmonologist, right?
Yeah, okay.
There's not a ton of MPN pulmonologists in the rural parts of the state.
Right.
You might need to, find one, if not in Sacramento, then you might have to find one down in Stanford, and that's something that we do for people.
Okay.
So
you go and find the doctor that they seek. Now, is this doctor within the MPN or not?
Well, we always look for someone within the MPN so that it's covered.
Has there ever been situations where you guys had to go outside the MPN and the insurance provider has to cover it?
There are situations. Let's say somebody lives in Reading, okay. Right? It's fairly distant from any major city up there. It's still Northern California. We can still absolutely help you. But maybe you have the type of injury or work-related illness or condition that requires a certain type of doctor. And there is one available, but they're not in the MPN. There's a special kind of hearing that we'd have to go to, unless the insurance company just agrees to pay for it to go outside the MPN. then there's no issue. We can just send you.
Right, but then the doctor also has to agree to take your case because essentially they're not going to get paid by you. They're going to have to go through the whole insurance company, and some doctors are probably not even cool with that.
Some doctors are not cool with that, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, if a doctor is, especially like in a like rural area, is there, it's because they care about people and they want to help. And so they'll do what they can to work with the insurance company, right? If the insurance company is saying, "Hey, yeah, we will pay you," they'll do their job.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. That's
Yeah.
great to know. Okay, so you can move within the MPN list if you're not liking the doctor that you're currently working with. And there are circumstances from where we're understanding where if there's no doctors available in that list, the only option is finding a doctor and then agreeing and going through the whole process with an attorney or without an attorney. What would you advise?
Always with an attorney.
Gotcha.
Whenever you're dealing with the insurance companies, the deal is the insurance companies know all the rules. Most people, regular people, don't, right? And so that's why you need an attorney to advocate on your behalf.
Right.
Because if they're not following the rules like they're supposed to, it's our job to get them back on track, let's say.
Right.
We can take them in front of a judge and make them explain themselves.
And if you didn't have an attorney, how would you even bring him up with this? Because you didn't even have an idea that the rules are being bent whatever way they're going, right?
Exactly. The power that we have as attorneys is that we can haul the insurance companies in front of the judge and make them answer for what they're doing, right? Most of the time, I'm going to say 99 times out of 100, if I find that someone isn't doing what, or an insurance company isn't doing what they're supposed to do, I can call up their attorney and I can say, "Hey, they're messing up. You know that my client is owed this, that, or the other thing." And they come around and provide it because they know that the next step is to go in front of a judge and explain why they're not doing it. And the judge just isn't going to have it.
Right. Yeah. Where does penalties and sanctions comes in? I've heard that word a lot, especially when the insurance company is essentially playing games.
If an insurance company is supposed to do something and knowingly doesn't do it, they can be penalized for it or sanctioned, right? For example, I had a case where I couldn't get the insurance company to respond to me at all, and my client was owed a bunch of temporary disability money.
Right.
Right? So he was like on the verge of becoming homeless and just very, very desperate. So I filed for a hearing. When that hearing happens, attorneys for both sides are obligated by law to appear in front of the judge. I appeared. The insurance company didn't send anyone. This happened 9 times.
Oh my gosh. How annoying.
It's extremely annoying. And I mean, for me, I was showing up there. But for my client, he was not able to like put food on his table.
That sucks.
And so the insurance company ended up having to pay $10,000 as a sanction for their failure to appear.
Awesome. I'm glad that there was someone to hold them accountable. And again, it's because you guys know what they can and cannot do and what they can get away with. And the insurance companies do try to get away with a lot, especially if you don't have a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. It happened to a friend of mine when she was asked, "Hey, are you going to get an attorney? Are you going to get an attorney?" They were just making sure that they wouldn't have to pay her off, essentially.
That's sad.
They just want to close your file and get rid of you for as little money as possible. That's their whole goal. Whereas when you have an attorney, our goal is to make sure that you get every dime that the law says that you're entitled to, okay? And sometimes it doesn't feel like enough, but we're out here to do what the law says we're allowed to do to help you. And make sure that you get that compensation, make sure you get that treatment as much as you can, and we're out here to cost the insurance companies money.
Yeah. It's essentially why your job exists, right? It's just to hold people accountable for what they should have offered in the first place, which doesn't happen. So, hint, hint.
I think that's a good way of saying it. Yeah. It's about accountability, right? If you don't have an attorney, then you don't have a way to hold the insurance company accountable for what they are doing wrong.
Right. And that's on the big cases. I've heard a lot of clients come back, and in the comments, I have read some people say, that's BS. You guys are lying. My case went fairly well. And again, there are cases that flow through the system flawlessly. There is no hiccups in it. Everything is treated nicely. I tend to say it's usually the smaller cases that are not necessarily going to eat up a lot of money for the insurance companies. It's the cases where you're going to cough up some change and more that kind of tend to become a little bit more complicated. And as you mentioned earlier, David, there's that claim adjuster that's essentially going to be like, well, you don't need an attorney. And they're going to try to persuade you to not even go that route. Now, I put myself in the shoes of a recent injured worker, right? Say I've never been injured. I just so happened to, trip at work. I hit my face. I have cuts, bruises, whatever, missing teeth. And then I kind of just listen to what my boss is going to say. Hey, you have to file this thing here. You have to go to this doctor here. And I'm going with the flow. I end up seeing this doctor. And then this doctor tells me, well, this is what we're going to do for you. You don't know, right? You're just like, okay, well, the doctor said this. I'm going to trust the doctor. And then you get this random call from hi, I'm the claim adjuster, and I just want to make some questions. And then you answer those questions, and you're just going with the flow. At what point do you even realize that they skipped out on option B and C, and then they just gave you A, and you went with it? Like, you know what I mean? I always tell myself that situation.
Yeah.
It's as smooth as it can go until it doesn't go smooth.
I've run into this a fair few times. Honest people, working people will come and say, like, I did everything I was told.
Yeah.
And like they trusted their employers. They trusted the insurance adjuster. And maybe they got some treatment and this and that, but like their condition got worse, or they didn't get quite the treatment that they needed at the time. And now they're in a situation where they're kind of stuck because the time to file their claims run out.
Yeah.
Or the time is run out and their situation is so bad that their employer can't use them on the job anymore.
And they're shit out of luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they settled for the minimalist amount and they're still in a very, very difficult situation. And then there's really nothing you can do. The amount of times I've seen situations like that really unfold is shocking and sad. It does happen, and it happens way too often, which again, I'm not shaming and saying, hey, if you don't have an attorney, that's cool. And this podcast is definitely not meant for you to feel like, hey, we're shoving you an attorney down your throat. Not at all. It's essentially just letting you know, hey, this is the shit that we see all the time.
It is. Yeah. I'll have people who come to me like 3 or 4 years after the fact.
Oh.
I had one of those calls yesterday, and it broke my heart because I just could not help the guy.
That sucks.
And he would have had a great case too.
Damn, that sucks. Okay. Well, it's good that we kind of talked about the subject because, again, it's been mentioned a lot in the comments. Is it illegal for me to actually use my own doctor? The workers' comp doctors are shit. Like, I really don't like them. So there's your answer. As long as you stick within the MPN, you can and should move doctors if you're not happy with the one you're currently on. And if you do decide to throw your own bank money into a private doctor and say goodbye to the workers' comp, that's like you leaving money on the table. Why would you do that? Take advantage of it.
We need to clarify something.
What?
You can go see your own doctor and throw your own money at it if you want to. Uh-huh. You're still entitled to a work comp attorney or a work comp doctor.
Settlement? Or you're still?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can still go get treatment from a work comp doctor.
So you can double dip with your own doctor out of pocket.
Double dip on treatment. You don't double dip on benefits. You're still going to end up paying out of pocket for your own doctor, no matter what.
Okay.
You're still entitled to go get your work comp doctor paid for.
Gotcha.
when we put all the medical records together, when we're doing your case, the records from your own doctor might help, might hurt your case, more likely to hurt than help, because the insurance company is going to really, really focus on whatever happened to you before the injury, or they'll ignore anything positive the doctor has to say about you. So, if you want to get treatment from your own doctor and throw your own money, totally understandable. Yeah, I mean, if you can do that, go ahead. But as far as your case goes, you're going to want to stick with the MPN.
Interesting. Good to know. Take notes, gentlemen, ladies, and make sure you guys ask questions. The beauty about workers' compensation is there is a ton of attorneys out there. If you decide not to do Pacific Workers, which happen to be our sponsors for the podcast as well, check them out at pacificworkers.com, serving all of Northern California. You can totally get a free consultation. I can't stress this enough. I say it on almost every episode. The amount of information you can get from meeting with an attorney and discussing what's going on with your workers' compensation case is free. Like, seriously, it's free. You're not going to get charged. In other parts of the law, you want to meet with an attorney, you do have to pay for their hourly rate or whatever it is. Yeah. Workers' comp doesn't do that. You set your appointment, you get your answers to what you're looking for, and then you decide, yes, I do need an attorney. Or if that attorney is cool, like David, he'll tell you, hey, you know what? You can go ahead and handle this paper cut on your own. You don't really need a lawyer. Right? But the idea behind this whole thing is there's options, free resources for you guys to get.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, I'm going to put this in every time I'm on this podcast. If anyone ever tells you you don't need an attorney, you need an attorney. The first thing to go do after someone says you don't need an attorney is go get an attorney. If someone's going to ask you, are you going to get an attorney? You tell them no, and then you go get an attorney, okay? Because if that's the situation, you could land yourself in some trouble if you don't get an attorney, all right? Because the person asking you that is going to know what the rules are and is going to want to take advantage. So if that ever comes up, get an attorney.
Great advice. Thanks again, David, for joining us in another episode of Work Comp Talk. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks so much.